Friday. It feels like the start of the weekend, so I'm going to start celebrating it already. Welcome into the Pack-A-Day Radio Show live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. My name is Andy Herman. Always appreciate you joining us. You can find us on the Pack-A-Day Radio Show 8 to 9 right here on the Fan. We are going to be talking lots of Packers today, per usual. To help us do that, Jimmy Christensen from the Pack-A-Day Podcast is going to be joining us at 8:20 a.m. this morning. Also would love for you to join the show. You can join us on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250. Also, of course, we've got super producer Tommy Wirtz in the studio as well. Tommy, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very good this morning, Andy. How are you? Happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday. I am doing fantastic. Your Milwaukee Bucks, who you are repping, are undefeated.
Yeah.
1-0. Summer League buzzer beater game winner. There's no better way to celebrate a Friday than a big Summer League win.
You know, of the top 3 titles that are out there to win in an NBA season, Summer League might be third, but the Bucks are well on pace. Well on pace. It goes, obviously, finals, then in-season champions, and then, of course, Summer League champions. Bucks have a chance to go 2 out of 3 of the last 3 right now.
Is that not more impressive than winning an NBA final? If you win a Summer League and an in-season, you've won 2 of the 3 championships.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, OKC. Bow down to the Milwaukee Bucks if they could win a Summer League. They've never won a Summer League in my lifetime, by the way. One of the championships in Wisconsin that has eluded us has been the elusive Summer League championship. Yeah. This could be the year, Tommy.
Yeah,
this could be the year.
It's World Series and Summer League championship. That's all we're looking for here to complete the quadfecta.
It's I don't know if it's going to happen during my lifetime. It's one of those things. It's a bucket list Wisconsin sports item. Tommy, if the Bucks get to a Summer League championship, I think the radio show is going to have to, the station's going to have to fly us out, cover it live.
And I was just going to say, if they're playing in the championship in Vegas, like, we're going. That's it.
I think
there.
it's going to be necessary.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Sparky. I think we have to have boots on the ground for that. Like, if the station's not there to cover a Bucks Summer League championship, are we even a real sports station? Right. I mean, I think we'd have to be there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all in on Bucks Summer League. I actually, Andy, was so bored with no Brewer game on yesterday and so excited just for any sort of sports consumption that I did turn on the Bronny James versus Cooper Flag matchup as well yesterday. And boy, did that game suck. And everyone was trying to make it seem awesome.
Nemhard was great. Nemhard was great.
Cooper
but yeah,
Flag
everyone
was like
else
5 for 20 or something, and Bronny was like 2 for 10, and they were marketing it as those two guys going up against each other. I was desperate last night, and so the Bucks game at least a little exciting, and then Bouye, is that how you pronounce his name, right?
Sure.
Bouye with the buzzer beater yesterday. That was a good time.
Nah, that was fun. The only thing I was disappointed in was that their two-way player Mark Sears was unable to play. Hopefully he can get in there. If they're going to win that championship, they're going to need Mark Sears to get in there and start tearing some stuff up.
He's a Summer League championship piece. That's what they're saying now. So
that's what everyone
agree.
has been saying. Mm-hmm. That's enough Milwaukee Bucks Summer League for one morning. We are going to go through. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. The reason we played that Luke Musgrave audio, courtesy of Fox, is because we are going to be going through our breakout players for 2025. And we could just go and list play. That's not the most fun thing in the world. So we're going to be drafting our breakout players. Now, we have to be able to keep track of this in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to take PFF at their word for their grades for this exercise. So how we're going to be analyzing this when we go back and look at it midway through the season or, once the season's over, is say a player now, we'll just take Jordan Love as an example, who was a 75.8 PFF grade this past year. If Jordan Love goes out and has a 88.8 PFF grade this year, he will be plus 13 for the person who drafts him. If he goes out and has a 67.8 PFF grade, he will be a negative 8 for that person. And you want to have the best plus minus that you possibly can in order to win this draft. So we have looked at the PFF grades. We know where things are at. So Tommy, the only thing left kind of to decide, and I am a gentleman here and a scholar, I will let you decide. We'll snake this thing. Do you want to pick first or do you want to pick second and third?
I'm going to take second and third.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this works out perfect based on the audio that we played at the onset. I'm going Luke Musgrave on this one. If you look at Luke Musgrave for his grade from PFF this past year, a 47.1 PFF grade. even the year before for Musgrave from PFF when he got to play a little bit more. I think he was in the 60s. So this has the ability to be somebody who has, I think, a significant increase. I think he needs to stay healthy, first and foremost. He's got to get on the field a little bit more, but it's hard for him to be worse. I'm not exactly concerned about him going down in any real way. And I do think that there is some real potential. Like if you told me he had like a 75 grade from PFF this year, I certainly would not be stunned. And that would obviously be a huge breakout. So not only that, but I do think he's just due for a better season. Year 3 for a tight end. It is one of the more difficult positions to kind of get a grasp of in the NFL. I know Tucker Kraft has sort of obliterated expectations with what he's done, but you have to learn all the receiving stuff, all the blocking stuff, the checks, the audibles, be on the same page with the quarterback for just about everything. And not to mention he's been beat up for 2 years. So I'm going Luke Musgrave, pick 1, Tommy.
I think that's the smart play for sure. Pretty low grade last year on top of it. And you know when they're both healthy, they want to get 12 personnel out there. They do want to see more of those looks. I think that's a good pick. If I had the 1 pick, probably would have went the same direction. I'll make this my first round pick just for more drama, but it could easily have just been my second overall pick. I'm going to go Jordan Morgan with my first pick. 59.2 last year. He's going to get a lot more PT this year, Andy, and he's a first round pick for a reason. For Green Bay's eyes, he's going to get all the opportunity in the world. I think that Jordan Morgan, 10 points easy out of the first. I don't know how many points we're looking for out of these picks, but you got to get up to, I think he can get up to a 69 grade pretty easily, and it feels like he is one of the safer options to improve upon that PFF grade from last season. And then I'm going to take a more staple player with pick number 2, right around the same number, Kenny Clark, right at 60 on top of that as well. There was a couple other options I really liked, but we had just been talking about all week how we're really ready for Kenny Clark to be back in 2025, and I think it'd be a little hypocritical he falls much farther than that. He is all-pro caliber. He can be that type of player for Green Bay, and I think he's going to get a lot more opportunity and hopefully at a lot more healthier options as well for Kenny Clark, whose grade was just 60 last year.
I mentioned the other day that I did this, so I'm a little bit... I'm a little bit more well-versed because I did this exercise with Justice Mosqueda on the podcast the other day, and Kenny Clark was one of my top picks as well in that exercise. I just think he's going to bounce back. Now, it might not be in the true spirit of a breakout player, so to speak, because he's a veteran who's had a ton of great years, but screw that. We have to gamify the system a little bit, and we're looking at players who are going to increase their PFF grade from a year ago, and Kenny Clark being at a 60, he's never been anywhere near that range in his career and should see, I think, a pretty significant spike. And for him, you know, he's got 1 year left on his contract after this year, next year, and if he wants to kind of see that contract through to fruition, as the thing we kind of talked about the other day, he's going to have a better season this year. So this is a big year for him. I think he's going to bounce back significantly. And yeah, I love that pick at Kenny Clark for pick 2 there.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, Andy. I'm just playing the game, all right?
Absolutely. I did the same thing with Justice. I did the same thing.
2?
Yep. All right, so I got 2 here. I'm going Marshawn Lloyd, 53.3. This is also a little bit of cheating because he barely played, so his grade is like barely indicative of who he is. But again, we're playing the game here, and in this case, I do think there is legitimate breakout player potential, right? Because we barely got to see him a year ago, and I do think there's a very talented player in there. I think this is going to be, first of all, can he stay healthy? Second, kind of like Musgrave as well. Number 2, he had a couple potentially, massive flaws that could keep him off the field out of college. Those flaws in particular were hanging onto the football. He had a lot of fumble issues in college and pass protection. And it's tough to get on the field consistently if you're not picking up the blitz and if you're fumbling the ball. Now, we haven't seen those issues in the NFL, he has barely touched the ball, but in training camp or anything like that. So hopefully he is over those. Hopefully he can get on the field more, stay healthy more. And if he does, I could easily see a pretty significant breakout and a much better grade for Marshawn Lloyd in year 2. All right. I got to do it. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it. I have said over and over, I will never, ever, ever sell my stock in this player. He had a 65.1 PFF grade a season ago, was significantly better in his rookie season. I'm going Dontavian Wicks. I'm going for the full Devontae Adams breakout in year 3. He's followed the trajectory every other step of the way. Let's go for it. Dontavian Wicks, Just catch the ball, my man. Just catch the ball. All you have to do, and you will be an absolute stud. The thing about Wicks is he's a really good run blocker. So that's going to significantly just always have a good baseline for his grade and always get him out there on the field. He's a really good route runner, and that's going to consistently get him open and get targets. But my goodness, Dontavian, just catch the ball. You're good after the catch. You're a red zone weapon. You've got everything that you need to be uber successful. It's just, it's the one fatal flaw. Just catch the ball. And if he can do that this year, I expect a much better season from Dontavian Wicks.
He would have been my pick on offense, I think, if he came back around to me. I agree, Andy. And I think the role of him will decrease a little bit, but that will also benefit him during this as well. He's going to have a lot less pressure to have those weeks where he's going for 100 yards. Or didn't he lead the team in targets through the first 3 weeks of the season?
It may have been longer than that. Yeah. He gets a ton of targets.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's going to really hold a lot of pressure off of him with his role decreasing, with Golden and Williams coming in now with Green Bay. I love the pick. I do think so. I'm going to go with a guy that traditionally I have maybe said some ill words about, but I do think that his role as well changes completely this year. 57.4 on the defensive side last year, Mr. Quay Walker. I think that's a great number where how low it is, and we're in the third round here trying to get some value. And I think that Edgerrin Cooper is going to be the starting middle linebacker all year. He is the Mike now for Green Bay, and there's a lot less pressure on Quay Walker to have to rely on his athleticism to get on both sides of the field, whether he's on the weak or the strong side trying to help out Green Bay. I think he's going to be able to lock down one half of the field a lot easier than cover the entire field itself, like Edgerrin Cooper is going to be expected to do. So I think Quay Walker is my third-round pick right there heading into 2025.
All right, I like it. You got one more.
Oh man, I'm already in a blender on round 4 right here.
That's where we want you.
I think I'm gonna go on the defensive side again, and we'll go with Javon Bullard on this
like that one.
54.2 grade last year, and they wouldn't let him play one position. So I let him get comfortable wherever they want to put him. If Evan Williams is healthy, he should be in the corner or in the nickel all year. Javon Bullard, he showed some promise last year, but he was inconsistent. And I think that was more of just rookie drawbacks and that he was maybe getting exposed after a little bit of tape was on him. And again, he couldn't really get comfortable at one position for Green Bay. So I think I like him in 2025 to really lock down that nickel corner spot if that's where they want to put him. And he should succeed a little bit more because he kind of knows what he has to do week in and week out.
All right. I'm happy that I'm going to get my final 2 picks here that I'm very excited about. I'm going all offense here. I'm expecting the offense to be much better than they were with any level of consistency a season ago. I'm going Jordan Love with my 4th pick here. 75.8 grade. I think this is a player that obviously had a much better year. He was an 83.6 in 2023, and I don't even think that was necessarily a ceiling. That was 8 points better than a season ago. Obviously dealt with all the injury issues a season ago. And it's not just the injuries that affected him on the field. It was the complete and utter lack of practice time that he had all throughout the season as well, which I think really affected the rhythm and timing with his wide receivers. At the end of 2023, if you remember, there was go back to that Dallas game. That's the big one. But even leading up into that and even parts of the 49ers game, it got to the point when we watch a game on TV, Tommy, we obviously can't see what's going on down the field, right? And in Aaron Rodgers' prime, there was that unbelievable when let me even rewind before that. When Brett Favre was playing and the ball left his hand, there was this nervousness in your stomach. You would never knew it. It could have been a 90-yard touchdown or the most sick pick six that you've ever seen. You had no idea. It was the ultimate, I have no idea what's going to happen. With Rodgers, it was this unbelievable feeling of every time the ball left his hand in his prime, the ball was just going to go perfectly into the waiting hands of a open wide receiver.
Who's down there? Who's down there?
It's who's going to catch it.
Yeah.
It's just who's going to catch it. How big of a play is it going to be? There was that unbelievable feeling. And at the end of 2023 with Jordan Love, there was we were getting to the point where every single time the ball left his hand, it's just which waiting wide receiver is going to be down there open, and you just expected good things to happen. And there were times in 2024 where it almost felt like the opposite of all right, what's going to happen here? And I think we're going to get back to that rhythm, timing, and that consistency within the offense in 2025. And I'm really, really excited for it. I do think he's going to play significantly better this year. I think it's going to be a much better grade for Jordan Love. And it's not even like it was a bad grade this past year, but I think it's easily going to be in the 80s. And I think I'm going to make easy money off of that one.
It's a great pick. Great value where you got it.
The other one, and this player probably in the idea of the comp or the spirit of breaking out or whatever probably is already broken out, but his PFF score hasn't exactly mirrored it. That's Tucker Kraft, 68.2. Like if you would have told me that his grade over the last couple seasons was 80 something, or at least last season was 80 something, I'd be like, yeah, that probably feels about right. And they have him at a 68.2. So I think he is inaccurately graded. I'll put it that way. I think he's much better than that grade would indicate. And I think he's not only going to get better, but I think we've already heard they plan to target him more in this offense. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition or not. But I'm going Tucker Kraft, 68.2 to round out my 5 picks here.
Okay. Andy, I got a question. Do I get Bo Melton's defensive PFF if he was 0 last year, and then any reps he gets from there?
You do not. But what I will do is Bo Melton was a 63.2 grade. If he beats that on either side of the ball, I will give you the whatever one he plays better. I will give you the grade that's the better of the two, either offense or defense.
Okay,
he's going to make the team first, though. That might be the bigger.
I'm going to avoid
that. All right, probably
one.
A good idea.
I think the best pick here, and again, great value at the 5th spot for it. I don't really love the pick just from the faith I have in this player, and you went very heavy offense. I went very heavy defense.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to take Lucas Van Ness. I think
that's the one I was thinking you might go with.
That's the one. I think you have to keep Van Ness on this list as far as hope goes. Now, again, confidence-wise, I'm really not confident in that pick. I haven't seen a lot that makes me really excited to see Lucas Van Ness break out, but we've heard the defense is trying him in new different spots on that line, whether he lines up at a 3 technique or does go out to his true edge rushing position. It's year 3. It's a huge year for Lucas Van Ness. They're going to have a decision on his 5th-year option after this season. They're going to make sure to give him every opportunity this year. And the grade last year being the 4th worst on the consistently played for the defensive side at a 53.5, actually tied for 3rd worst with Corey Ballantyne. Only worse were Colby Wooden and TJ Slayton I have on my list here. I think you have to go with Lucas Van Ness because this is another guy who I think is going to get a lot of opportunity, a lot of chances with the Green Bay Packers, especially this season more than any of the other ones. The value just seemed too good to pass up.
Yeah, in fact, I even have better news for you. It's a 52.9 on the official PFF list, so it's even lower than what you had on yours. And here's the thing about LVN. In 2023 was a 62.3 grade, so almost 10 points higher than he was this past year. I'm really hoping, Tommy, that grade can't go down. If it goes down, we've got massive problems, right? So I'm really hoping that there's nowhere to go for that grade but up, and hopefully in a fairly significant way. And if you told me that he was, again, around like 70 this year, I'm not saying like he's all of a sudden this unbelievable defensive end, but if you told me he was around 70, I'd be like, yeah, I think he can achieve that. And we know he's a little bit banged up this past year. It's year 3. He's still a young player, has all the traits in the world needed to be successful. I mean, that's a potential, 17-point swing in your favor. So to wrap up our draft here is Team Tommy, Jordan Morgan, Kenny Clark, Quay Walker, Javon Bullard, and Lucas Van Ness. In order for Team Tommy to succeed, the defense probably going to have to ball out and Jordan Morgan get a little bit more opportunity along that offensive line. Team Andy, Luke Musgrave, Marshawn Lloyd, Dontavian Wicks, Jordan Love, and Tucker Kraft. Very offensive-minded, very playmaker-minded. I'm expecting a breakout for the offense. Tommy's expecting a little bit more of a breakout for the defense. We'll see which one of us is right. Somebody in the chat, 6 months from now, end of season, remind us to go back and look at these grades. I'm sure we'll remember in and of ourselves. In case you're interested, Team Justice has a lot of players, a couple similar to Tommy, Quay Walker, LVN, Jordan Morgan, Tucker Kraft, and Devontae Wyatt. And my initial draft with Justice was Luke Musgrave, Dontavian Wicks, Kenny Clark, Marshawn Lloyd, and Jordan Love. So very similar to my list I did with Tommy, just subbing in Tucker Kraft for Kenny Clark in this situation.
Do we want to, out of the spirit of the week when we did overrated and underrated, take someone to go negative and then add those points the other way.
Oh, all right. Let's so a fall down player, a come
Right.
back to earth player.
Right,
All right. So negative player. All right.
You should go
who
first on this one because you.
I got first pick. I got first pick with Musgrave.
Oh,
so
you did.
You're
You're
up.
right. You're right.
Yep.
I mean, I hate to do this to my boy, but Emmanuel Wilson at 82.9 just seems like it has to be the pick 1-1 of this because I think his opportunities go down immensely too. I don't even know. Again, if he makes the team, right? I guess that's maybe another part of it because they're going to probably take three running backs, and it seems like Lloyd and Jacobs are already locked in. So I think Emmanuel Wilson has to go down from here.
All right, I'm gonna put a pause on this for a couple of reasons. One, I think let's do the opposite of this next week. Let's draft 5 players apiece on the opposite side. 5 players that we think could come back down to earth. We'll have this be your first pick overall, and then I'll do number 2 and 3. You've got Emmanuel Wilson coming back to earth. We're also needing to get to Jimmy Christensen here in just a moment as well. So we'll put a pin in this one. We'll come back to it next week, and we will see which one of us. Hopefully, all of our picks are wrong, and nobody takes a nosedive back, but. We'll start with Emmanuel Wilson at pick 1 next week. Let us know, Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250. Which team you like more? Team Tommy, Jordan Morgan, Kenny Clark, Quay Walker, Javon Bullard, and LVN, or Team Andy, Luke Musgrave, Marshawn Lloyd, Dontavian Wicks, Jordan Love, and Tucker Kraft. If you missed anything all week long right here on The Fan, no worries whatsoever. Download and listen for free on the Odyssey app or go to thefanmilwaukee.com. Your current Milwaukee weather, 68 and cloudy, high of 75, low of 68. We are going to be right back with Jimmy Christensen. This is the Pack-A-Day Radio Show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back to the Pack a Day Radio Show, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Reminder that the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis is coming up next from 9 to 11. Also, make sure to join Packers all-time leading scorer Mason Crosby and Hall of Fame wide receiver Jordy Nelson at the Beloit Brouhaha Softball Slam, a charity softball game on July 27th at ABC Supply Stadium that will feature football legends and Wisconsin and Illinois celebrities to raise money for Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. Register for your chance to win at thefanmilwaukee.com. Right now, joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law, is the one and only Jimmy Christensen. You can find him on social media at Jimmy_C08, of course, on the Pack a Day podcast as well. Jimmy, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. This is sponsored by Gruber. Watch all those commercials all the time. I'm living
One
the dream
call,
right
that's
now.
all.
Yeah,
We got to
That
get you a
guy's
Gruber
legend.
shirt, so when you come on next time, you can just have the Gruber shirt ready to go on the YouTube channel.
Listen, I'll wear
it's
it
always
7 days a week. Honestly,
You would. Yeah, I know you would. It is always fantastic talking with you, my friend. I'm excited to kind of dig into some Packers conversation today. I want to start with a couple of the podcasts that you've done recently over on Pack a Day. You're double duty in it with two different teams right now, both on Fridays and on Sundays. So you've had a lot of different podcast topics as of late. But one of the things that I do not do a ton of is talk about fantasy football. Because I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. Fantasy baseball, we can have a conversation. I can hang. I'm first place in the fantasy baseball league, Jimmy, but fantasy football, it just does not go my way. I don't know if I can't see the what is it, the forest through the trees or whatever, but I think I'm just too close to it, and I'm just terrible at it. So I want our listeners to have some fantasy football advice. I'll let you go in any direction that you want. What do you got up your sleeve for fantasy football this year?
yeah, I might not be the best for this because my mom
Nobody is.
somehow won our family league this year, and I'm pretty
Love
sure
that.
she still thinks Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback. Like, I would not be surprised.
Should we bring her on? Is she available? Can we call her right now and get her fantasy
I'll call
football
the
team?
dentist's office and be like, "Hey, she might be cleaning teeth. Can you get her off that real quick? The kid will be fine."
We have an emergency.
Yeah, we can set that up for sure. Honestly, for this year, if I Packer related, if I don't get a Tucker Kraft or a Josh Jacobs, I'm probably staying away from any Packer player because it's just maybe late in the draft and you just pick a Wicks with your last pick, or Matthew Golden falls. NFL Ringer has him ranked like 130th, so you can get him pretty late, like the 13th round if you're a 10 team league. So he might be worth taking a pick on, but he's a first round draft pick, so you know someone's going to take him high, especially if you're in a league with Packer fans. My sister will probably take him in the first round. She's not the brightest. So looking around the league though, like there's some older vet players that, because of things last year, like Devontae Adams now is projected maybe third round. Tyreek Hill saying falling to the second. Christian McCaffrey's falling later. So I honestly might be team old person this year and just take some of those guys that they might fall off the cliff, but if they hit, they could still be a top 5 player at their position. I feel like that's the best area to get the value this year. We'll see.
I do like Devontae quite a bit in LA. I think him and Stafford are going to have a really sweet connection there. And it's not all on Devontae, right? Like you've got Puka Nacua. I have Puka Nacua in my dynasty league, so hopefully Devontae doesn't hurt him too much. But I think that's going to be a really good option there in LA. And from a Packers standpoint, I've been 1,000,000% on this same thing of like, let everyone else take every Packers wide receiver that they want. There's just too many mouths to feed on this offense. I'm with you. I would be willing to take a flyer on Tucker Kraft. However, I do think probably somebody just takes him before I'd be willing, again, just because there's so many opportunities for different players to get involved. Josh Jacobs is the one. Clearly, he is still going to be a big-time focal point of this offense, even with Marshawn Lloyd coming back, even with all those mouths to feed on the in the passing attack. I still think Josh Jacobs is the guy for Green Bay offensively and would have no issues picking him whatsoever pretty early on. Where are you at with Jordan? How would you kind of go into the fantasy draft and where would you kind of be willing to take him?
I would not take Jordan Love in fantasy.
Okay.
It's not my style of quarterback. I much rather have one. And it all goes down to just scrambling. I like to have a quarterback that scrambles. It's been talked about a lot, even just for the success of real life football, not fantasy. We're hoping Jordan Love scrambles a little bit more. But in fantasy, like he would need a Baker Mayfield season from this year of like 40 touchdowns to make it worth it in my mind, where you could take a not as talented quarterback in real life and like a Justin Fields, but in fantasy, because he can run and he'll definitely have some rushing touchdowns. It boosts the value up a little bit more. So I love Jordan Love in real life, but fantasy, I'm a stay away guy.
The other thing for me, and this is not great fantasy football advice, so anything I say, just do the opposite of when it comes to a fantasy football advice.
I'm gonna write it down quick.
For me, there you go. For me, I don't like having my real NFL quarterback also be my fantasy. I need some like emotional hedging. I need somebody else that I can I can't have double where like I need Jordan Love to be amazing in both scenarios, right? It's too much pressure. I can't have it. So I have to have I think a different quarterback in that scenario.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want him to control my mental health and my financial health in like the same area. I need those two a little bit separate.
Smart. Yep, you gotta have it. Gotta keep it separated, as they would say. All right, let's move on to a different point of conversation here. You also looked in a recent podcast at favorite training camp players to kind of keep an eye on. Who are some players that you're really excited just to kind of either hear about, watch at training camp, etc.?
Yeah, mine. I have a few, and I this is a change to the podcast that I did a couple weeks ago or a week ago now. But you mentioned him in the list that you were creating. I really am excited to see just Luke Musgrave. I don't want to say the word disappointment's heavy. He's been unlucky. His first season injured last year. He was injured as well. So just kind of seeing now with LaFleur what he can cook up with the rise of Tucker Kraft. Musgrave was kind of, at the time, we projected to kind of be the person to step in and be that weapon right away. With opportunities Kraft got because of injury, he stepped up and he looks like he can be a really good tight end in the league. So just seeing now how Musgrave can find his role on the team. Obviously, we'll do a lot of two tight end sets. He's a different player than Kraft. A little speedier, can be more of a passing weapon. So I'm excited to see just how we incorporate him more. You can see some of it in training camp. A lot of the questions, though, I'm going to overreact to every 30-second clip I see on Twitter. That's just what I'm going to do. A lot of real answers come in the regular season. Another player too is Bullard. I just want to see we drafted him high. We have Evan Williams came. He solidified his spot as a starter next to McKinney. Now we have with the cornerback room, we have Hobbs. Valentine might be outside. I just want to see how that shakes up and where he finds his spot on the field and can carve out playing time, because he can be a good player. And he had flashes last year. I know this had very minimal impact on the play, but I still like to watch that clip where he decks AJ Brown week 1, just being that physical player, because I'm all for just the physical crazy person that you need on the defense. And if Bullard can fill that in the secondary, that would be awesome. And then my last one too, it's kind of cheating. It's not really a player, but my favorite thing for Packers training camp is the 30 different looks on offensive line we get, and just constantly keeping everyone guessing on where players are going to play. LaFleur always says they're going to put the best 5 out there. He absolutely means it. Like, they could find someone at Quick Trip, and if he fits the build, we'll give him a chance. So I'm excited to see those kind of combos happen.
My favorite thing at minicamp was Donovan Jennings was getting looks with the first team unit. And I asked Matt LaFleur after, and I even prefaced it. I'm like, I wholeheartedly understand we're not supposed to be taking anything out of necessarily who's playing where or whatever, but Donovan Jennings got some looks with the first team today. What was sort of the impetus for kind of putting him with that first team offensive line? And I think dead serious. He could be lying, but it seemed, just kind of poker reading him. I think he was dead serious. He's like, had no idea he was even with the first team. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And he's like, again, even doubled down on like, it means nothing. So I am very excited. And of course, like, we're going to, again, overreact to everything. It's one of those things, like there's 13 open training camp practices, something like that. There'll be a few more that are open to the media. Well, we'll probably get out there for like 16 or 17 of these things in total. We get, let's say it's 17 at about right around 2 hours a pop on average, probably maybe a little bit more than that. We probably get around 35 hours of Packers practice in totality, basically all year long. And it's our first opportunity to glean anything that we can in those 35 hours. And every minute little detail that we get in those 35 hours, it just feels massively important. And usually it's not, but like for a fan base that craves any morsel of any Packers news, updates, attention, anything, it feels like it's like those little dopamine hits, like when almost like the first couple days of free agency when all these different players are going everywhere, and like every little update that you get from Schefter or Rappaport, you're like, ooh, somebody signed again. Like those little hits from training camp, especially early on, they hit hard, and I am so excited for every little detail that comes out.
Oh yeah, I always tell myself like, hey, it is training camp. Like, let's not get excited about the ball going in the net. I will retweet it. I will say Jordan Love is a future Hall of Famer. I know myself. No matter how much I tell myself, like, hey, just chill out. It's not a big deal. I will act like my child just took steps.
It's the biggest of deal.
Yeah,
it's the biggest of deals. We're a week and a half away. I can't wait. We're being joined by Jimmy Christensen. You can follow him on social media at Jimmy_C08. Of course, on the Pack a Day podcast as well. All right. Not to bring up a necessarily a bad topic here on a Friday, Jimmy, but I did bad. I went on a Vikings podcast recently, although there is a very heavy Packers influence as well. We've had Paul Farrington on the show before. I went on and talked to him, and they were looking for maybe some morsels of potential good news from a Vikings standpoint. And I said, one of the things that I do have concern about with Green Bay is this past year, and we know the first part of it, that when they played any good team, basically Philly, Minnesota, Detroit, they went 0-6 in those games. But above and beyond that, the teams that they beat, Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson, Tennessee with Will Levis, the Rams were fine, but they did not have Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua in that game. They were pretty beat up. Arizona, Houston was a good solid win, but Houston did not exactly have the year that I think a lot of people were expecting them to have this past year. But Jacksonville, Chicago, San Francisco with a backup quarterback and a completely beat up team. Miami on Thanksgiving that didn't look like they wanted to be there. Seattle with Sam Howell. New Orleans with Spencer Rattler. Like they kind of, to some extent, were bad team merchants. They got a lot of wins against teams that weren't very good. And when they played good teams, They did not do well. In fact, they went 0-6 in those games, including losing to Philadelphia in the playoffs. So, A, were they a little bit of bad merchant teams in 2024? And B, what can they do to just be better against the best of the best? Because they have a very brutal schedule coming up in 2025.
I initially, when I read that as being one of the topics, I was like, oh, I think there was something I thought maybe last year, but just want to push out of your brain a little bit. But yep. You can't argue. Like, there's a very good case for that. Just looking at and this is a whole NFC North in general. We had the AFC South. Like, that right there is a boost of four wins. Yeah. So, and a team that you mentioned in there that we beat, I kind of think we might have put ourselves just expectation wise, kind of right at there with the Texans going into the season. And I think we kind of finished right where they were. They had better success in the playoffs, but a team that didn't really live up to what fans expected. And we did what semi-good teams do and beat the bad teams, which is good. Like, we weren't losing to the AFC South. Like, we were doing that part. So that's a good first step. But to break into that contention, I just think we didn't hit expectation last year, and I wouldn't put us as a bad team, but we definitely had a benefit of facing some of a weaker schedule at times. And we did what we were supposed to do and win those games, but we can't expect Super Bowl contention until we start stepping up. And to your point of what can we do in 2025, a lot of it, I feel like in those big moments, you could more so than a couple seasons ago, it seemed like the pressure got to them. You look at that first Lions game too, like we were having players, it seemed any big play we'd have a fumble, or I know we had Jenkins at center, but we have a bad snap. Penalties were getting in our way nonstop. Anytime we get in the red zone, it seemed like, let's get down there. We'll get our first penalty out of the way and then hope we can bounce back. It seemed like a lot of those young mistakes were happening in the biggest moments. And I don't know if it's just pressures getting to them. They went from a couple seasons ago being kind of no one knew what this team was going to be. There's no pressure. You're the underdog in a lot of these situations. We saw them do well against the Chiefs and pull it off. And then this year, I don't know if it's a combination of just a big time game. Now you do have those expectations added on top of you. And it turned into silly mistakes that we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I think that just has to be better this upcoming season. I think that's where the whole urgency comment comes from Brian Gutekunst to really kick off the entire offseason and to sort of set expectations for this upcoming year. They've got the pieces, they've got the young talent, they've allowed these young pieces to kind of grow and kind of mold themselves together. And now it's time to go out and start winning big time football games. We're going to find out very quick if they can do that at the beginning of the schedule, going against Detroit and Washington at home over those first 2 weeks. Just going to be absolutely epic games that I cannot wait for. And like I said, we're going to find out this Packers team is serious or if they still have a ways to go with those first two competitions. Really, not only the first 2 weeks, first Sunday and Thursday of the season, basically like a 4-day, 5-day period of time, we're going to find out a lot about the 2025 Green Bay Packers. All right, a couple quick ones before we get you out of here. I know you tweeted recently, or maybe it was a retweet, I can't quite remember, but I know you talked about recently Greg Jennings' Packers career and how if he had stayed in Green Bay, we would probably be looking at this much differently. I think there was also sort of the weird Jennings stuff with Rodgers after Green Bay that I think just kind of paints him in a different light as well. But I love that you brought this up and kind of continue to bring this to light, because I don't think he quite gets the credit he deserves for being as great as he was in his Packers career and was such an integral and key piece on the Packers run to that Super Bowl.
Yeah, he played with a lot of talented receivers. There's no getting around that. He had Donald Driver, I know, towards the end of it. Like, it was a different version of Donald, but Jordy Nelson's coming into it. But yeah, Jennings he was consistent. He was explosive, just a reliable wide receiver. And I think you mentioned it right away, how he left and then some of the issues he had with Rodgers and then kind of continuing that years after he was even done playing on shows, I think just puts a sour taste in people's mouth, because we all are very protective of the Packers. So when there is some kind of backlash there, it's easy to get defensive. But I think it's definitely kind of just tainting a little bit of just how good he was for our team. And I think if he stayed and continued to play with a Mount Rushmore quarterback in Rodgers, his career would have retired with us. It would be painted in a completely different light. But when you leave and go to the Dolphins, when you're on a division rival like the Vikings, it kind of diminishes our view. Unless you're Aaron Jones, he somewhat gets a pass. I know we were upset, but I don't think he's not getting the backlash, and I think that's because he hasn't said anything negative about the team really, to where we're going to bash him for it.
I'm fairly certain it's impossible to dislike Aaron Jones. I just don't think it's like you can do it. It's just so hard. Even in purple, like he's the only one that can be like, I'm going to give you a pass. I'm just going to pretend it's not happening. I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to say that I'm happy you're there or anything like that. I'm not going to wish you success necessarily, but I'm at least going to give you the benefit of the doubt of not saying anything bad about you because you're Aaron Jones, and we shouldn't have to do that. So
I go colorblind for 3 hours whenever I see him playing.
Is that Aaron Jones out there? All right, last but not least, there's always this fun conversation, and I think this is a perfect way to end our conversation here on a Friday. If you could clone any one NFL player in the history of the NFL and play them at every single position, which player would be the best? I just want to ask you from a Packers standpoint, for the history of the Packers, which player, if you had to clone and make 53 of them, would be the best possible Packers team just using that one player? I know my answer for sure, but I want to know what you think.
Oh, I'm glad you said just go with Packers at first. My brain immediately went to Marshawn Lynch just for the fun of it. But Packers only.
Like that.
Oh man, this one's tough.
I'll go first if you want a second to think about it.
I think I have mine.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going Charles Woodson. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Just plays defense, a little bit of offense, explosive, smart as heck. And definitely has a chip on his shoulder in every position. And I think it'd be fun. I'm gonna go Charles Woodson.
I just think you can run some Wildcat stuff up front. You know, he I'm sure has at least an arm. I don't know how great it's going to be, but he's got wide receiver ability. Like, you could put Woodson at running back. You could put him at wide receiver. He's competitive enough to do anything. Like, if you said, hey, Charles, we need you to go pick up that blitz, he'd be like, all right, I got it. Don't worry. I'll figure out a way to pick it up. He basically, in Dom Capers' defense, played outside linebacker, slot corner, outside corner, and safety. Like, you have Hall of Fame safety, Hall of Fame slot corner, Hall of Fame outside corner, and a legitimate blitzer / edge rusher on the outside who can also somehow ridiculously set the edge as well. Like, you've got all of those. He's obviously going to be a bad defensive end / defensive tackle on the interior of the defensive line, but nobody else is probably picking like 30 or like 53 Trent Williams, right? So like you're going to be a bad team. I think Charles Woodson has to be the answer. And there could easily be somebody
Andy,
from like.
I am going to interject here.
Okay.
And I never do this during guests, but
go for it.
I mean, a team full of Edgerrin Coopers. I know we're kind of early still here, but we're talking about athletic freaks that can run fast. Like Edgerrin Cooper would. I think 53 Coopers beats 53 Woodsons.
Ooh. I'm going to take 53 Woodsons over. I think I like Woodson's ability to throw the football a little bit more than I think you're going to get with Edgerrin Cooper. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to take my odds with 53 Woodsons.
I like the Woodson pick. I do. I'm just Cooper's a freak.
He's a
It's
freak.
totally fair. There could easily be somebody from like the Lombardi days too. That's just before my time that I'm potentially forgetting here, which is totally fine. If somebody in chat wants to hit me up and say like, Paul Horning or
53
something.
Paul Hornings. Yeah, there
53
we go.
Jim Taylor's like Jim Taylor's probably a great selection as well. I'm sure there's multiple people in that time, but I'm just going to go a little bit more recency bias. I'm definitely going Charles Woodson. Jimmy, I cannot thank you enough. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I just a real quick? It's a flip. It's the same type of question, but I just pure entertainment, funny to watch. Like it doesn't have to be a good team, but watching 50 or watching 11 of them on the field at the same time would be just entertainment. Who's your player for that?
Oh, I'm going in house. I want to see 53 Mason Crosby's. Let me see what Mason can do. I'm going 53 Mason Crosby's here. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you got, Mace.
I like that one. I just went David Bakhtiari. I feel like the comedy with him.
Oh,
would just
sure.
be watching him try to
James
run
Jones.
routes. James Jones. Yeah.
James Jones would be fun. Who else would just be really fun? I feel like I'm on 53. I'm on greens would be very fun to kind of watch. There's a variety of ones over time. I think go 53 Jaires would be a scene. Can you imagine if they all go out for the coin toss? Every single one of you've got 53 captains. Like how that's going to be an issue. No, I'm all for it. I think it'd be a fun conversation. Cam Newton is one that comes up a lot. Like 53 Cam Newtons would be very interesting to see.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, obviously, seeing what he could potentially do. That there's some very, very fun ones out there. And obviously, 53 Bo Meltons, what could possibly, how could you possibly beat that either? It's a ton of fun to think about. Like I said, a perfect conversation for a Friday. Jimmy, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you for joining us here on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Anything that you want to plug on the way out?
Not too much. Just listen on Pack a Day on the Friday episodes, Sunday episodes, whenever I get to hop on here with you. And then besides that, my son's birthday's coming up. So shout out to Winston. Can be a big bruising 4-year-old.
Shout out Winston. Does he get to be in the Family Fantasy Football League this year, or is he still a few years away?
Listen, if that's what will bring me luck, he can do every pick for me.
All right.
But yeah, I'll start handing him books, and homeschool's going to change to just fantasy football studying for maybe the next few weeks. No more math.
That's
you don't
at
need
least
that
be
right
like,
now.
it's got to at least be like half the curriculum, right? Is like math and then like a little bit of science here and there, some history and fantasy football. I think that's a good solid, 4K curriculum.
Our science is just different angles on throwing a football. So just prepping him now.
Genius. You're ahead of the curve. He's got future Pack a Day written all over him. So we're looking forward to that. Jimmy, have a phenomenal weekend. Follow him at JimmyC_08. This is the Pack a Day radio show. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Pack a Day Radio Show. A huge thank you to Jimmy Christensen for joining us this past segment. A reminder that the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis is coming up here from 9 to 11. Also remember, the Pack a Day Radio Show is also a podcast. You can find us anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite pods. Catch the full episode, listen by individual hour, or jump straight to the highlights. Just open up your favorite podcast app, search Pack a Day Radio Show, hit that follow button so you get every minute of every show your way and on your time. Tommy, we are back with Brewers baseball. We've got 3 more games prior to the All-Star break. You've got a leadoff show coming up today. How are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling great, right? Brewers back in action today at American Family Field going up against the Nationals. It's always a great day when Quinn Priester is on the bump, right? It seems like that always gives an extra juice to the station here at least. And I don't know how many more starts he has left, Andy, because Nestor Cortez just pitched his second rehab assignment yesterday again. And I'm worried that it's probably one of the last Quinn Priester starts we will see all 2025.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I totally forgot about Nestor Cortez.
I know.
He was not even in my my purview at the moment. Like I'm excited for that, I guess. The pitching's been so great that I almost feel like, hey, maybe don't mess with it. But this was a big acquisition for them, obviously, in the Devin Williams trade. Man, imagine if he comes in and starts tearing it up. There's obviously a little bit of excitement potentially with that.
So, Andy, your wish may come true because we had Drew Wagner on, as we do every Monday and Thursday on the Mason Crosby Show yesterday. And he had basically said that a dream scenario, now don't freak out too much from this,
okay,
would be you have Mizorowski go back down for 2 weeks. And then,
no, I don't. That's not a dream scenario.
Yes, I know. 2 weeks, and that's your deadline to trade Nestor. And then you have to get him out in 2 weeks. Keep him loose down there. But as far as the minor league option situation goes, really, it's Mizorowski is the only guy that's going to be flexible enough to be sent down, and you could bring back up immediately. If you do the same with Quinn Priester, that is his last minor league option. So, again, it could be him. I don't love that scenario either, but that would be something to keep in play. They are going to have to trade one of these pitchers because they are not going to not have Mizorowski down the stretch of the season.
If he goes down for 2 weeks, I don't want him pitching. I don't want him waste. I guess you have to kind of keep him, like, just pitch him in a relief. I don't know. But, like, man, I don't want to waste any one of his pitches on a minor league hitter.
Yeah.
It'll be maybe could they trade him during the All-Star? I guess you probably want to see him first if you're another team before you're making an acquisition. So you kind of almost need to not debut him, but get him out there for a start and try to raise some trade value, I guess. But yeah, that's an interesting one.
There's not a lot of great other options, Andy, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, right? If you've got too many pitchers, that's never a bad thing. But yeah, that's another interesting one that they're going to have to kind of figure out here in the near future. That kind of brings us to our Potawatomi Sportsbook final thought of the day.
You got to do some smart thinking.
It's time for Andy Herman's final thought of the day.
What are you thinking?
Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What the hell were you thinking?
You're listening to the Pack a Day Radio Show on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan.
Think of a lot of Brewer fans here. We've got a lot of training camp coming up here in a couple weeks. So we've got a lot of Potawatomi Sportsbook Packers takes coming up. But Tommy, I'm just going to say, bring me a bat, bring me a third baseman. There's no reason not to. You have this beautiful, perfect place where you can go out and get a player at third base. There is a few different third basemen that are potentially out there that you can go and get. This is more than a summer of fun and entertainment for families. This is an opportunity to go out and win at a very high and serious level. You have the starting pitching. You have the relief pitching. You've got young, up-and-coming and exciting players on offense. You've got defense. You've got speed. You've got Yelly playing well. I have a feeling Contreras is going to have a monster second half of the year. There's multiple third base options. There's a hole there. Go out and get me a big time bat. There is 0.0% excuse not to do so. And it, as in the great words of Kevin Green, it is time. It is time. Third baseman, get me one, Tommy.
Third base, I think, is going to be the easier position to trade for, but I don't know. I think I'd rather replace Joey Ortiz, no? And it sounds like they don't really want to move Bryce Terang around on the defensive side because of his injury in the spring training with the shoulder. So where I loved the idea of bringing a third baseman, move Durbin to second, move Bryce to short, sounds like they don't want to do that. So then go trade for a shortstop because I'd rather have Durbin in the lineup than Joey Ortiz.
Durbin can't play shortstop, right? Just primarily second base.
Andy, he's 5'3", 100. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so. He's not that short, but he's a short man, and it's going to be a big ask of him to be able to cover what shortstop can cover.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Yeah, to me, Ortiz is good enough on defense, right? Where if you have a great third base, if you go and get like a Eugenio Suarez or someone like that, add another big bat to the lineup. In a 9-man lineup, I can have Joey Ortiz batting 200, and it's not going to freak me out. The defense is good enough. I can live with it there. If the rest of the lineup is good, I think the rest of the lineup in that case would be good. I can deal with it. I can deal with that in that situation, and maybe, just maybe, he gets slightly hot at the right time and ends up coming through for Milwaukee.
I don't know if I'm there. There, Andy. But
I get it.
I understand. I understand. I just wish that Bryce Terang could be a little more flexible in the second half. Then it would make this a lot easier.
You've always complained about Bryce Terang. You've never been a big fan. I totally get it.
Right.
We've got a lot more to get to. We're going to talk to Mitch here in just a moment. Make sure not to go anywhere. This is the Pack-A-Day Radio Show.